The biggest lie you have ever been told about getting a man addicted to you is that you need to be some sort of wild acrobat behind closed doors. You have been sold this idea that to truly seduce a man, to make him crave you, to make him lock you down and never want to look at another woman again, you have to perform like a movie star the second the lights go out. But I am telling you right now, that is completely wrong. Over the last 15 years of my life, I have sat down with thousands upon thousands of men. I have dug deep into male psychology to figure out what actually makes a man stop seeing a woman as just a fun night out and start seeing her as the only woman he ever wants to get busy with again. And the truth is going to shock you because true seduction, the kind of magnetic, high-value attraction that makes a man obsess over you, happens long before the clothes ever come off. It is not about the physical mechanics of hooking up. It is about the psychological tension you build before you ever get to the bedroom. Today, we are going to talk about the 3 psychological steps to seduce a man. We are going to mix the deep emotional understanding of how men think with the exact mechanical how-to strategies you need to build unbreakable confidence. By the time we are done, you are going to understand exactly how a high-value woman operates when it comes to getting physical and why her approach makes her completely unforgettable. Let us dive right into step number 1, which is all about mastering the art of the simmer. Most people treat getting physical like a light switch. You are on a date, you are having dinner, you are talking about your jobs or your families, the vibe is totally friendly, and then suddenly you are back at his place and boom, the switch flips and you are doing the deed. There is no buildup, there is no journey, and because there is no journey, there is no emotional investment on his part. When you just flip the switch, hooking up becomes a purely biological act. It is easy, it is fast, and unfortunately, it is entirely forgettable. A high-value woman does not operate with a light switch. She operates with a volume dial. She understands that the most powerful tool in seduction is anticipation. Men are visually driven, yes, but their obsession is driven by their imagination. If you give a man everything right away, his imagination has nowhere to go. But if you give him just a taste, if you let the tension simmer, his mind will go crazy thinking about what is going to happen next. This is where you have to shift your mindset. So many women rush into getting physical because they are operating from a place of fear. You might think, if I do not hook up with him tonight, he is going to lose interest, or he is going to think I am a prude, or he will just go find someone else who will give it up faster. That fear makes you rush the process, but when you rush it, you kill the tension. You are handing over the prize before he has even had a chance to play the game. A high-value woman is never afraid of losing a man who is only looking for a quick hookup because she knows her true power lies in her standard. Her standard says, "My body is a privilege, and you are going to have to earn the right to experience it." So how do you actually do this mechanically? How do you create this simmer without seeming cold or uninterested? It comes down to the micro moments of physical touch and pulling away. Let us say you are sitting next to him at a lounge. You do not just throw yourself at him, instead, you use the power of the delayed touch. When he says something funny, you lightly touch his arm, and you leave your hand there for just 3 seconds longer than a friend would. You let your fingers trace his sleeve just a little bit, and then you pull your hand back and go back to your drink. You give him the warmth, and then you take it away. That tiny gap between the touch and the pull away is where seduction lives. It sends a message to his brain that says, she is interested, she is warm, but she is completely in control of herself. You are giving him a green light, but you are controlling the speed of the traffic. Another powerful mechanical tool for the simmer is your eye contact. When you are talking to him, let your eyes drop down to his lips for just a second and then slowly bring them back up to his eyes. Do not say anything about it, just let the silence sit there. It completely changes the energy in the room. He goes from thinking about what he is going to say next to suddenly realizing how close your mouths are. You are planting a seed in his mind about getting busy, but you are doing it with total class and zero desperation. You are creating a space where he feels the pull of attraction, but he still has to lean in to close the distance. This is the emotional core of high value attraction. You have to realize that men do not just want the physical act of doing the deed. They want to feel like they have won you. They want to feel like they have successfully seduced a woman of high worth. If you just hand it over because you are afraid he will leave, you rob him of the feeling of earning you. And when a man does not feel like he earned you, he does not value you the next morning. The simmer is about respecting yourself enough to say, I am incredibly attracted to you, but we are going on my timeline. Think about it like a rubber band. If you hold a rubber band loose, there is no energy. If you snap it immediately, it breaks. But if you slowly pull it back, further and further, the tension gets stronger and stronger. By the time you finally let go, the impact is massive. That is what you are doing with the simmer. You are pulling the rubber band back. You might go on a date and end the night with an amazing, passionate makeout session at your door. But instead of inviting him in, you gently put your hands on his chest, smile, and say, I had an amazing time tonight. Drive safe. And then you close the door. You leave him standing there, his heart pounding, his mind racing, completely intoxicated by you. He is going to drive home gripping the steering wheel, thinking about exactly what he wants to do to you next time. You have not rejected him. You have left him wanting more. You have successfully planted the hook. This is the first psychological step. You must trade the cheap validation of rushing into the bedroom for the high-value investment of building unshakable tension. When you master the simmer, you train him to see you as the ultimate prize before he even touches you. Now that you have built that massive anticipation and the simmer has reached a boiling point, we move on to step number 2, which is mastering the art of emotional contrast when things actually get heavy. You see, the biggest mistake women make when they finally decide to take a man to the bedroom is that they get stuck in their own heads. They spend so much time worrying about how their stomach looks when they lay down, or if the lighting is hiding their flaws, or if they are doing the exact right moves to impress him. But let me tell you a secret about the male brain. When a man is finally about to get busy with a woman he has been craving, he is not inspecting your body like a plastic surgeon. He is not looking at that tiny bit of cellulite you are so worried about. He is entirely focused on your energy. If you are hiding under the covers, if you are rushing to turn off all the lamps, if you are quiet and stiff because you are insecure, you are completely killing the vibe. A high-value woman seduces a man by being unapologetically comfortable in her own skin, and she does this through emotional contrast. Emotional contrast is the magical mix of showing deep, authentic vulnerability 1 second and playful, confident dominance the next. It is the ability to be sweet and incredibly spicy at the exact same time. This contrast is what separates a forgettable hookup from a woman he cannot get out of his head. Let us break down the mechanics of this because I want to give you exact tools you can use the next time you are messing around. The first mechanical tool in your emotional contrast toolkit is your voice. Silence is the enemy of seduction. A lot of women stay quiet when they are getting intimate because they feel awkward or they think they look silly. But to a man, silence is terrifying. When you are quiet, his male ego starts panicking. He starts thinking, am I doing this right? Is she bored? Does she even like this? A high-value woman understands that her voice is her steering wheel. You do not need to fake anything, and you definitely do not need to sound like a wildly exaggerated actress in a bad late-night movie. You just need to give him a map. When he does something you like, you use a soft, breathy voice to tell him. You pull him close, you put your lips right next to his ear, and you whisper something simple like, I love it when you do that, or please do not stop doing that. That tiny whisper does two things simultaneously. Mechanically, it trains him to touch you exactly the way you want to be touched without you ever having to criticize him or bruise his ego. Emotionally, it makes him feel like an absolute champion. It makes him feel like he is the best guy you have ever been with. When a man feels like he is successfully giving you pleasure, his emotional connection to you skyrockets. You are linking his self-esteem to your physical presence. But here is where the contrast comes in. You do not just stay in that soft, sweet, receptive mode the entire time. To truly hook his brain, you have to flip the script and take the wheel. Men love a woman who is responsive, but they are absolutely addicted to a woman who is confident enough to take charge. So, right in the middle of fooling around, when he thinks he has the rhythm figured out, you mechanically interrupt the pattern. You gently push his shoulders back so he is laying flat. You climb on top. You pin his arms down just playfully enough to show him you are the boss in this moment, and you look him dead in the eyes with a wicked smile. You hold that eye contact. You let him see your confidence. You are moving from the sweet, vulnerable girl who was just whispering in his ear to an absolute force of nature who knows exactly what she wants. This throws his brain into a beautiful tailspin. He does not know what is coming next, and that unpredictability is the core of deep, passionate attraction. You are showing him that you are a multifaceted woman. You are a safe place to land, but you are also a thrilling ride. Most guys are used to women who just lie back and let the guy do all the work. When you show up with this dynamic, playful energy, you completely shatter his expectations in the best way possible. Another crucial part of this second step is how you handle the pacing during the deed itself. A lot of guys, especially when they are super excited, tend to rush. They treat getting physical like a race to the finish line. If you let him just rush through it, the experience becomes purely physical and lacks that deep emotional glue. A high-value woman controls the tempo. If things are moving too fast and losing that sensual connection, she does not stop and give him a boring lecture. She uses mechanical redirection. You grab his face with both hands, you slow his movements down by matching your physical rhythm to a slower pace, and you pull him in for a slow, deep, passionate kiss. You force him to look at you. You bring the energy back from a frantic physical release to an intimate, connected experience. You are silently teaching him that being with you is an art form, not a sprint. You are making him savor the moment. This requires you to drop the fear of being judged. You have to stop worrying about whether you look perfect from every angle and start focusing on how the moment feels. True body confidence is not about having a flawless figure. True body confidence is the willingness to be completely present in the body you have right now. When you let go of your insecurities and fully surrender to the pleasure of the moment, while simultaneously owning your power to guide him, you become absolutely intoxicating. Think about the psychology of why this works so incredibly well. Men are constantly under pressure to perform in every area of their lives, and the bedroom is no different. They carry a massive amount of performance anxiety. When you create an environment that is totally free of judgment, where you are openly expressing your pleasure and playfully guiding him without criticism, you take away his anxiety. You become his safe harbor, but because you are also injecting that spicy, unpredictable dominance, you keep him on his toes. You are giving him the ultimate physical and emotional cocktail. He gets the validation his ego craves, the deep connection his heart craves, and the thrilling unpredictability his primal side craves. He leaves that bed feeling like a king, but also completely mesmerized by the queen who just rocked his world. He realizes that hooking up with you is an entirely different experience than anything he has ever had before. You are not just a warm body to pass the time with. You are an event. You are an experience. And once a man gets a taste of that kind of high value, emotionally contrasting intimacy, plain old boring hookups will never satisfy him again. This is how you bind a man to you physically and mentally, setting the stage for the most important part of the seduction process, which happens right after the dust settles. This brings us to the third and absolute most critical psychological step in seducing a man, and it is the part that 99% of women get completely wrong. It is how you handle the aftermath, the morning after, the post-hookup window. This is the exact moment where a man decides if you are a fun fling or the woman he wants to build a life with. Most women utterly destroy their high-value positioning right here. After you do the deed, a massive wave of vulnerability hits you. You have just shared your body with this guy, your hormones are screaming at you to bond, and the insecurity sets in. You start wondering, does he actually like me? Was that just a one-night stand? Is he going to text me tomorrow? And because of that anxiety, women completely smother the guy. They stick around his apartment for 4 hours the next morning, waiting for him to make them breakfast. They send a huge paragraph text the second they get home, talking about how magical the night was. They immediately try to lock down the next date. They morph from a confident, independent prize into a needy, anxious mess. And when a guy feels that desperate energy shift, his primal instinct is to pull away and run for the hills. A high value woman handles the aftermath with total, unbothered grace. Step 3 is about mastering the power of the high value exit. Your goal after getting physical is to leave him basking in the glow of what just happened, completely free of any pressure or obligation. You want him to realize on his own that he misses you, rather than forcing him to deal with your presence when he needs a minute to process. So, mechanically, how do you execute a high value exit? Let us say you wake up at his place the next morning. You do not lay in bed waiting for him to plan your entire Sunday. You do not ask him where this is going. You wake up, you give him a sweet, sleepy kiss, you get up, and you start putting your clothes on. When he asks what you are doing or where you are going, you smile warmly and say, I have a yoga class I need to get to, or I am meeting my girlfriends for brunch, but I had the best time last night. You are incredibly warm, you are totally affectionate, but you are unavailable. You kiss him goodbye and you walk out the door. You leave while the party is still going strong. Think about the psychological impact of this move. He is laying in bed expecting you to linger around, expecting you to need his validation to feel okay about sleeping with him, but instead you just showed him that you have a completely full, vibrant life that does not stop just because you got busy with him. You showed him that your self-worth is intact. You did not need him to reassure you. You gave him an amazing physical experience, and then you evaporated back into your awesome life. This completely flips the script. Instead of him feeling suffocated and needing space, he is suddenly the one laying there wishing you had stayed a little longer. He is looking at the empty space in his bed and thinking, wow, she is so cool. She is so independent. I need to see her again. You have given him the gift of missing you. You have allowed his masculine instinct to pursue to kick back in. Men fall in love in the spaces between seeing you. If you never give him space, he never has the opportunity to realize how much he actually craves your presence. And mechanically, this extends to how you handle your phone after you hook up. The rule for the high-value woman is simple. You do not send the first text after the first time you get physical. You just don't. You let the dust settle. You go live your life. You go to work. You go to the gym. You hang out with your friends. You do not sit by your phone agonizing over his silence. Because here is the brutal truth of male psychology. If a man wants you, he will reach out to you. Period. There is no confusion. If he had an amazing time and he sees you as a high-value woman, he is going to text you to make sure he has not lost his spot in line. When he finally does text you, maybe later that afternoon or the next day, saying something like, I had a great time last night, you do not reply instantly with a novel of emojis. You wait an hour or two, you let him sweat just a tiny bit, and then you reply with something short, sweet, and playful, something like, me too. I am still smiling about it. Have a great day at work. Boom. That is it. You validate his ego, you show him you are happy, but you are not demanding a 3-hour texting conversation. You are remaining slightly elusive. You are staying on your pedestal. This emotional understanding is what completely separates the girls from the women in the dating world. You have to truly internalize the belief that hooking up with a man does not lower your value. It does not suddenly put him in the driver's seat of the relationship. It just means you shared a beautiful, intimate moment together. Your value is completely intrinsic, it belongs to you. When you operate from that core belief, you never act out of desperation. You never try to force a commitment just because you got naked. You understand that true seduction is a long game. It is about consistently showing him that you are a woman of immense worth, both in the bedroom with your passionate contrast and out of the bedroom with your unbothered independence. You create a dynamic where he feels incredibly lucky to have access to your body and even luckier to have access to your time. So let us wrap this all up and look at the whole picture. Seducing a man And making him completely addicted to you is not about memorizing weird bedroom tricks from a magazine. It is about a three-step psychological journey. Step 1, you master the simmer. You use delayed touch and intense eye contact to build massive anticipation so he feels like he is earning a prize, not just getting a free handout. Step 2, you use emotional contrast when things get heavy. You combine the sweet, vulnerable whispers that validate his ego with the playful, spicy dominance that keeps him wildly off balance and totally present. And step 3, you execute the high value exit. You leave the morning after with warmth and grace, refusing to smother him, and you let your independence trigger his deep, primal desire to chase you and lock you down. When you put these three steps together, you stop being just another girl he went on a few dates with. You become a total enigma. You become the woman he brags to his friends about. You become the woman he cannot stop visualizing when he closes his eyes. You step fully into your power as a high-value female, and you let him realize that winning your heart is the greatest challenge and the greatest reward of his entire life. Now go out there, own your confidence, hold your standard high, and let them see exactly what true seduction looks like.